Hey guys, today I'm going to be bringing you my current take on Cyber Dragons with all the new support we've got from Cybernetic Horizon. It's a really fun deck to play. It's very strong. It's a very strong rogue pick right now, in my opinion. And yeah, it's just all the new support just made the deck a lot more playable and a lot more consistent. And we'll be getting more support in the future. So yeah, as you can see, I am playing the Sky Striker variant, but as we go through the deck, I will definitely just talk about some cards that you can play instead of the Sky Strikers if you want to play like the more pure fusion-based variant. So yeah, let's get into it. Nothing very special in this list. It's pretty standard for the most part. Of course, you're going to max out on playing 3 copies of Cyber Dragon. It's the centerpiece of this deck. So many of your plays revolve around just spamming this guy into the field in multiples and just beating your opponent in the face with him. Yeah, you can't really have a Cyber Dragon deck without 3 of them. Although admittedly, there are times where I wish I could just play 2, because drawing more than 1 copy of the OG Cyber Dragon in your hand is really bad, because it just turns off your machine dupes, and it's especially terrible going first because you obviously won't be able to summon it. But yeah, it's definitely correct to play 3. So pretty standard there. Next, we play 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Core. As its name suggests, it is the core of this deck. It searches on normal summon, which is a mandatory effect, by the way. A lot of people don't realize that. It searches for your cyber spells and traps that extend your plays. It searches for your searcher. It searches for the new trap card we got, which is just really good going first. Yeah, this is your go-to machine dupe target. In the graveyard, if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you banish this and spec a Cyber Dragon monster straight from your deck to the field. Just really good effects all around, so gotta definitely max out at 3. The next 3 we have the new guy, Cyber Dragon Hertz. He's, as you can see, also a machine dupe target, so that brings your total number of machine dupe targets up to 6, which makes it a lot more live. But yeah, Hertz makes the deck a lot more consistent as well. He helps you he helps you manage your resources a lot better. So he's got 2 effects. When he's special summoned, you can make him a level 5, but then you're locked into only summoning machines for the rest of the turn, which isn't like a huge issue, and like, you know, like, it's not terrible. I think it's the same thing that Cyber Dragon Dre does. But that effect hardly ever comes up. It's the second effect you want to be using most of the time. So when Hertz is sent to the grave, you can add 1 other Cyber Dragon from your deck or your graveyard to your hand. So ideally, you want to be using Hertz to grab back your core, just so you can keep summoning core each and every turn to just keep resolving searches, etc. So Hertz is very strong. He helps you play longer, and he helps you grind as well. So pitching Hertz off of Galaxy Soldier is also very good. It gets you basically a free Seeger or a free Nova or Infinity, whatever you need. What's important to note, though, is that Hertz cannot grab himself back. His text specifically states 1 other Cyber Dragon. So if he goes to the graveyard and you don't have any other targets to grab back to hand, you're going to be forced to grab the OG from your deck to your hand. So keep that in mind. So those are all the 3 ofs. For the last Cyber monster we play in the main deck, I play 1 Cyber Dragon Veer. Veer is really, really good. I might want to actually bump him back up to 2. I was playing him at 2 before, and then I cut him to 1. But Veer, he's really good at chain blocking, especially when you normal core. And since core is mandatory, this has to be chain link 1, and then Veer can just reveal itself in hand to be chain link 2. It's free board presence for link summoning. And at worst case, he pumps your Cyber Dragons up by 500 attack and defense. He makes them 2600 beaters, which is also pretty relevant. So I could see myself putting Veer back up to 2. And then 1 copy of Yugioh, the Star Destroying Kaiju, because it is searchable in this deck. I was playing Eltenin in the main and siding Yugioh, but Eltenin just got way too bricky. So I've switched over to Yugioh for now, and I'm pretty satisfied with that right now. I think it just depends on the format and like the meta. I was maining the Eltanin just because my locals is very Goki heavy, and I was expecting a lot of Goki. And Eltanin is just so powerful at breaking the Goki board. But yeah, nothing much to say there. Yugioh is actually really good against Sky Striker as well, because if you give them Yugioh, it turns off all of their spells because they have a monster in their main monster zone now, so that's really good. Alright, the next card in the deck, I play 3 copies of Galaxy Soldier. I choose to max out at 3. I know some people play 2. You can do that if you want. I just think Galaxy Soldier is way too good not to play at 3. Absolutely amazing as an extender. He facilitates your Xyz plays and your Link plays. He puts Hurts in the graveyard so you can recur resources. Just absolutely phenomenal. I want to play this at 3. I just want to see it all the time. For hand traps, I'm only doing 5, 3 Ash, 2 Ghost Ogre. I was actually, like, the ratios on these were actually flipped for a long time. I was playing 3 Ogre and 2 Ash just because I wanted more light targets for Galaxy Soldier to make it more live. But I've recently gone back to 3 and 2 just because, like, Ash is just, like, the best hand trap in terms of, like, how generic it is and how many decks it just hits. And Ogre is, like, a lot better in this format than in previous formats, but it's not good against, like, every deck. So I just side the 3rd Ogre, and then I can side out the Ashes accordingly, because Ash is not very good against like Goki, Sky Striker, and Trickstar, and all that stuff. But it's really good against Rogue, and it's just the most generic hand trap we have. So, yep, it's 3 and 2. I kind of want to go 3 and 3, but I feel like at that point, like, I'd be diluting the consistency of the deck a bit too much. So, yeah, this is fine just for now, 3 and 2. The spells, 3 copies of Cyber Emergency and 2 copies of Cyber Repair Plant. These are your consistency spells that you want to be searching off of core. These can both search core, so if you need to get a core, these will do that for you. So you have searchers that search your searcher. So this deck is actually quite consistent, contrary to popular belief. And this makes a lot of this new support makes going first a lot easier as well. So Emergency just adds a light machine monster that can't be normal summoned or set, i.e. El Tanin, or any Cyber Dragon monster from your deck to hand, and then if this activation gets negated, you can pitch a card out of your hand to add it back. Yeah, that effect hardly ever comes up, but just really, really good support. A Repair Plant, I think everyone knows what this does. Only reason I'm not playing it at 3 is because its activation requirement is kind of strict. You need a Cyber Dragon in your graveyard to activate it. But this will search a light machine from your deck to your hand. So you search Yugioh, any Cyber Dragon monster. You can search a Galaxy Soldier, which is really big. And then if there are 3 or more Cyber Dragons in your graveyard when you activate it, you can target a light machine in your grave and shuffle it back into your deck. So it's really good for that. However, I still kind of toy with the idea of just dropping this to 1 completely, just because I've gotten really tired of opening, like, this card and not having it be live, like, especially in the mediocre hand. It's just an absolute brick. I side it out a lot for games 2 and 3, and I never miss it, so at that point, like, why not just play it at 1? But I think the 2nd copy is the 41st card in this deck. So if I want to go to 40, I might just cut the Repair Plant. But yeah, 2's pretty standard. It's been working out, like, fine for the most part. For more consistency cards, 3 copies of Sky Striker Mecha Hornet Drones. This card is ludicrous. I think the OCG definitely did it right when they hit this to 1 instead of engage, because this card facilitates so many degenerate Link plays. Resolving this basically nets you a free Summon Sorceress, or like Clifford Genius or Seer, whatever you want, as long as you have a normal summonable Cyber Dragon in your hand. Yeah, it's really, really good. I highly suggest trying this out if you haven't already. But if you do want to play like the more pure fusion variant, I would just cut these and play 2 Overload Fusion and 1 Power Bond, or whatever ratios you so desire. That is what I was doing before I switched over to the Sky Striker variant. But either version works. I think both are equally as fun. Extenders, I have 2 copies of Instant Fusion. These were originally Pot of Desires, but I got really sick of banishing 2 Cyber Dragons off of it for the +1, and Instant Fusion just helps you put a extra body on the board for Link summoning or Xyz summoning. And Panzer Dragon's effect to pop cards when it's destroyed comes up to clear floodgates sometimes. So really good there, Instant Fusion. For more consistency, we play 3 copies of Machine Dupe. This card is insane. I really don't think I need to explain this. The number of targets we have for this card is doubled. So it's a lot more live, a lot more often. Yeah, this card also isn't once per turn, so opening up like multiples like isn't like the best, but it's not the worst either if you do have a target in hand for it. And if you resolve this and your hand is really good, you probably win the game. Or at the very worst, you'll just have a really good turn, unless your opponent has the nuts and they stop you. But those are the breaks. To stop that, though, we do play 3 copies of Called by the Grave. Droll and Lockbird really hurts this deck because you have searchers that search your searcher, and this card searches your searcher. So Droll is really good against this deck. Luckily, it's not as prevalent in the current format right now, but well-timed Ash or a Ghost Ogre on your Summon Sorceress still hurts. No pun intended. So we just play this at 3. It's really good going first as well. Next, 2 copies of Twin Twisters. These were originally Monster Reborn and Foolish Burial, but I got like Monster Reborn, honestly, and Foolish Burial both just kind of felt like win more cards, and I'd find myself siding those out a lot more often. For the Twin Twisters, especially because of like Sky Striker and Trickstar and stuff like that, and Altergeist and Draco, which seem to be popping them back up for some reason. So I just decided to main the Twin Twisters instead, and that's been working out just fine. This absolutely just wrecks Sky Strikers. The 3rd one's in the side deck. Yeah, no explanation needed there. And then for the last spell, I'm only doing 1 copy of Rev System. I'm still like iffy on whether I like 1 or 2 Rev System, just because like as a one of, like it's highly searchable in the deck, but there are also times where like I want to search Repair Plant to extend my plays, so I don't want to have to search Rev System with Core. And playing 2 would like let me see it more often. So when this new support first came out, I was like a proponent of playing 3 Rev System, just because like I got caught up in like the fact that it's just a free Monster Reborn that's not once per turn, and it gives your guys protection. But like after testing the deck, Rev System is purely an extender. It's not a starter. So like seeing it like in multiples in mediocre hands just isn't good. But using this to revive Zeger is really good, because most of the time, like your opponent won't be able to clear the Zeger through battle, and having it be indestructible like card effects is also really good. But yeah, I'm still like undecided on playing 1 or 2. I definitely think 3 is incorrect. But yeah, further testing is required. Or it could just be like personal preference as well. But I think 1 has been working out just fine for the most part. There are only like a few instances where I missed the 2nd, but whatever. I'll just keep testing. And for the traps, 2 copies of Evenly Matched and 1 copy of Cybernetic Overflow. We're going 2nd deck, so we want to play Evenly Matched. And Cybernetic Overflow is for when we go first. At least this will give us some form of disruption alongside our Infinity, because Infinity is just so easy to bait nowadays. It's not even funny. Like going first and like making Infinity and passing just doesn't do anything. You need at least like something else to back it up, and Overflow is really good at that. Non-targeting destruction that your opponent can't bait, because they don't know how many Cyber Dragons you're going to banish, so they don't know how many cards they're going to pop, or you're going to pop. So going first, games 2 and 3, these come out for more copies of this, and vice versa for going 2nd against different matchups. This comes out for the 3rd evenly in the side deck. And then we have the beautiful Sky Striker token that came in the new OTS pack. So yeah, that's the main deck. I think that's 41. It should be, at least by my count last time I went through the deck. Yeah, nothing really special here apart from the Sky Strikers. So let's move on to the extra deck. Extra deck is also very standard. I'm only going 1 Seer just because we're doing the Sky Striker variant, and you need extra deck space. Extra deck space is actually very tight, but if you were going to play the more pure variant, definitely play 2 Seeger. like I'm also only playing Seeger at 1 just because like it's really good support and I'm glad we got it, but it's not like amazing. Like its link errors are really awkward, so that sucks. But its effect is also very good for making sure your opponent like doesn't OTK you, especially if they're like playing Dino or something. If you're playing Dino, you sit on Seeger and they just have a hard time outing it. Yeah, Seeger, very good card. Good support, facilitates OTKs, makes Rampage Dragon and Power Bond less necessary. Yeah, so just one for him. Clifford Genius, just because it's a Link 2 that takes machines and the effect to negate things comes up a lot. And its Link arrows are just better than Seeger's. I was thinking of playing Hipposhi Ningen with the generic light Mrs. Radiant, but I think Clifford Genius is just more toolbox utility because of his negation effect. So, and then 1 copy of Summon Sorceress, 1 copy of Griffin. Summon Sorceress is absolutely insane. I'm allowed to play it, so I'll play it. This facilitates so many combos, so many extenders, so many extensions, so many wacky, just like insane plays with that Galaxy Soldier. Yeah, really, really good card. And then Griffin is for going first. If you open up Core or any other normal summonable Cyber Dragon monster and Hornet Drones, you end Griffin and Seeger. So that's pretty good. And then depending on your extenders that you have in your hand, you can end on Griffin, Seeger, Infinity, which is pretty good for going first, I think, for Cyber Dragons. So yeah, the Sky Striker stuff definitely makes going first a lot easier with this deck. The Griffin gets sided out for Fortress Dragon, depending on the matchup. But yeah, other than that, it's only here for going first. For the Sky Strikers, just one of each, Kagari, Hayate, and Shizuku. You go through all 3 of these when you do the Summon Sword play or the Clifford Genius play. Just really good stepping stones to link up. So yeah, and Hayate actually comes up sometimes if you're like in time and you just need to do damage. Hayate can come out. All 3 of them actually, their effects aren't all useless, but you generally don't want to just be like sitting on like these guys because you're not playing like any meaningful Sky Striker cards. So that's it for the links. For the Xyz, I'm going 1 Pleiades. You can play Durandal if you want, because it has that super cheesy interaction with Droll. It's basically just like a Reincarnation Droll combo. I just like Pleiades because it's got more attack, it helps you push for more damage, and it's good going first and second just for clearing monsters that can't be destroyed. And it's just another interruption for your opponent to play through if you make it alongside Infinity going first. So yeah, 1 Pleiades, and then 2 Nova, 2 Infinity. This is super standard. Nova is honestly probably the best card in this extra deck just because of how much it does. Like, aside from its like ability to reborn your Cyber Dragons, everyone also just forgets its secondary effect to like banish a Cyber Dragon and to just boost this guy to boost itself by 2100. Which is insane. Like, so many people forget about that. I OTK'd so many people at locals yesterday just because they didn't know that Nova did that, and they all looked at me when I used Seeger to pump it up by 2100, and then when I declared an attack with Nova, I chained its effect, banished the Cyber Dragon, boosted it up by 2100 again, and just killed them. So many of them had to read the card. Yeah, Nova's absolutely fantastic. Infinity, on the other hand, it's good, but I could see myself playing it at 1 just because it's very utility. It's not as much of a power play as Nova is. It's like negation's good and the ability to suck up monsters is good as well. But like I said before, like the days when Infinity was like an actual threat like are gone. Like, it's so easy to play around the negation effect now. But yeah, I'm just 2 and 2 is still fine for now. This might come to 1 eventually, but who knows. For the purple cards, there's your Instant Fusion target, Panzer Dragon, really good. He's the best one. Makes Pleiades. He makes any of your Xyz actually because he's a 5, and his effect to pop things comes up a lot, more than you'd expect. But this will be a Sea Monster of Theseus if we ever get Needle Fiber in the TCG. And then the last 2 cards in the extra deck are 2 copies of Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon. This card's really, really good. So many people don't know that this card can be made using monsters from either side of the field. So like, so many times, the amount of times I'd play Sky Striker and they'd Widow Anchor take my Cyber Dragon, and I'd just use the Cyber Dragon that they took plus their like Kagri or Hayate or whatever monster was in their extra zone, and to make Mega Fleet and kill them was just way too much. And a lot of people only play one, so they never see the second coming. Like when they clear the first one, they think they're safe, so they make a push, and then you just clear it again with your second Mega Fleet. Funny story, I was playing against a Sky Striker guy at Locals, and he made Unicorn, and he put the Mega Fleet back into my extra deck, which, like, at the time I was like, okay, why? Like, maybe he has game, but then he didn't kill me. He just swung for 2200 with Unicorn, and then the next turn, I normal summoned a core, and then I made Mega Fleet again with the Unicorn and the core and killed him. And he was like, oh, you play 3, and I was like, no, you literally just put this back in my extra deck. So, I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, I sideboard the Fortress Dragon just for the mirror match and for Sky Strikers, although it's not very good against Sky Striker either. But yeah, and then one copy of Flying Fish to round out the extra deck. Yeah, as I said before, super standard, nothing too special going on here. I just wanted to make the deck as consistent as possible. I didn't want to gear it to be like the OTK variant, because that's just more gimmicky. And Power Bond honestly isn't great anymore now that we have Seeger. I was aiming for consistency, not power. So yeah, feel free to tell me what you think. Share your ideas, any cool experiences you've had. Feel free to leave me a hate comment, tell me how badly constructed my deck is. I welcome the criticism, and yeah, peace.